Hi everyone, Jitin here. Welcome back to HighLevel Techie. Today we are going to answer a question which some of you may have. Why do I have a random number at the end of my funnel URL? So let's get started. So I'm under sites and under funnels. Now I'm going inside my funnel. So now I'm inside my funnel, and then there are a few places where you can set your domain URL. Let me show you how you can set your domain URL properly and why this random number appears on your funnel URLs. So this is the whole funnel. And then when you click on the settings, this is where you set up your domain. So if you didn't have a domain, all you have to do is click here, add or edit domain, and it will take you to the domain. And now you can see this is the main domain I have. And if I click on these three dots and click edit, this is where after connecting the domain, I would set the default page. So you can see I have selected the first page in my funnel step as the default page. Similarly, I have also selected the first page in my funnel as the 404 default page as well. So once you've done that, you click save to do that, and then you go back to your funnel steps. So now we are inside the settings. You can see here, this is the name of the funnel, and this is the domain that we just set up. And there is a path here. So if you type in your domain / this path, it will take you to your home page. So let me now quickly type in my root domain and this path, and you will see my home page, because this path leads to your main page of the funnel. Okay, so this is one place where you can set up a main landing page for your funnel. So that's place number one. Now we are going into the steps itself. Now we are on the step number one, or the main step of this funnel. And you can see there's a gear icon here and a gear icon here. So this gear icon, if you click this, it will open up this publishing. So if you click this, you can see the publishing has opened up, and the name of the step comes from here. This is the name of the step, and you can set a step URL here. So if I type in /home after my root domain, it will still take me to my home page. Let's see that. And if you go back to overview, you have another gear icon here, right? So if you click on this, you will see another URL here. You can set up another URL for the same step or the same page here as well. Now, this is where most of the people get that random number. So if I try to save as home itself, it would come up with the random number. I will tell you why in a second. So if we go back, click on this, you can see there's a random number here. So why is it happening? You know that you cannot have the same URL for two different pages, right? But then you don't see two different pages. So that's where the confusion comes from. But the thing you have to understand is that this is a funnel, and funnels are created to run A/B testing. So that's why whenever you create a funnel, it comes up with an option to create a variation here, right? So by default, there are no variation. You have to create a variation. So if you're still confused, I'll just show you an example here. So I'm going to create a variation for this page. I'm selecting use existing, and I'm just going to select the same page that we have in here. Or now you can see there are variation A and variation B, and now the 100% traffic is going to variation A and 0% traffic is going to variation B, right? So I can adjust this, and I can send 50-50 or however I want. So let's keep it 50-50. And if I apply, 50% of traffic will go here and another 50% will go here. But then how would you split that traffic? You send traffic to this URL, and when a website visitor types in this address, it will redirect them to either this page or to this page. And now to have an identity for this page, we set up a URL for that page in here. And to get an identity for this page, I set up a URL here. Looks like I've copied this page from a contact us page. Let's call it webinar again, and let's see what happens. Now, we have already used a URL called webinar here. So this cannot be the same URL. That's why the system is adding an extra random number here. So, but what if I do webinar page instead of that and update. There you go. It's all good. Now for this page, the variation B, if we set up here webinar, if we try to save this as webinar, it would generate a random number. What if we try to save it as webinar page? Then also it would generate a random number because we already have the same URL for page A. Let's try it out. Now, if you go here, this is webinar page A. So this is called webinar page, which we created initially. So it's all good. Now, if you go here and if you look at it, webinar page with some random number. So we can either change it to webinar page 1 or maybe add something or remove this hyphen in here. So it becomes webinar page, but a different URL. It looks very similar, but it's a different URL because it doesn't have that hyphen in between. So if you update that, it should save as it is without the random number. It's all good. Webinar page. Here, if you go here, webinar hyphen page, they are all different URL. So now it is very easy for you to understand that why we can't have the same URL for variation A and variation B. But when you start with a funnel page, so for example, this is a funnel page and this doesn't have a variation, but still this page is created to take care of that variation. That's why you need to set up a URL here and set up a different URL path in here. So if you try to use the same name here, you know what will happen. The random number would appear. And that's the reason why you see a random number on your funnel pages when you try to use the same name in multiple places. I hope this answers your question. If you still have any doubts, please let me know. I'll be more than happy to answer. So that's all for today. Hope this is helpful. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.